Welcome back to Weekend Prime. Now, power intoxicates, it blinds, and in the words often attributed to George Orwell, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. That is the illusion many in politics begin to live by, that proximity to power elevates them above scrutiny, above accountability, and above truth. Tonight on Face the Facts, we strip away that illusion and confront the arrogance, the double standards, and the dangerous rhetoric of Suna East Member of Parliament, Junet Mohammed. Here is Haman Kamariki.
Welcome to First the Facts. Let's watch this picture of a politician in this country. You know, there is a dangerous breed of politicians in this country, Kenya, those who forget where they came from the moment they taste power. Junet Mohammed has of late appointed himself the custodian of respect, lecturing others, condemning dissent, and drawing red lines on how leaders should speak. His latest summon, a rebuke of a former Deputy President Geoffrey Gachagua for allegedly disrespecting President William Ruto. I agree, Gachagua made a mistake, but leadership demands consistency, and Junet's record collapses under the weight of his own words, because the very tongue he now uses to defend the president is the same one that once tore into him relentlessly when he was Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Let's listen to what Junet said then.
Sisi tunajua mambo mingi, kunyamaza tu tumanyamaza. Lakini ukiona tunapinga Ruto, tunajua hii ni mtu hatari kwa nchi yetu ya Kenya. Ati anaambia wazungu ya kwamba kuna corruption Kenya. Ati kuna wizi. Na wajui wazungu wako na historia yake. Sahili amesema ati kuna corruption Kenya. Mzungu ameanza kuvaa miwani, anauliza naona Ruto ama naona mtu mwingine. Hii mtu anaongea juu ya corruption ni nani?
Now let me ask, so what changed, Junet? Did truth change, or did the sitting arrangement at the high table change? As the African proverb goes, when the drum beat changes, the dancer must adjust. But Junet is not adjusting, he's transforming from critic to cheerleader, from firebrand to gatekeeper of power. We award him a first-class honors degree of hypocrisy and insult studies. And perhaps that would be forgivable if it ended in politics. But it doesn't. At a rally in Nyanza, Junet descended into the gutter, hurling vulgar insults with children in the crowd. That was insane. That is moral bankruptcy of full display. Maybe because there is bankruptcy, we cannot withdraw because he can't deposit.
DCP ya Rigathi Gachagua na ODM wako na values moja. Tunaweza kuwa na values moja na Rigathi Gachagua hapa Kenya. Mtu muongo, mtu munafiki, mtu ambaye akili yake sio timamu, akili ruka zamani mpaka tukaimpeach yeye bungeni. Na ile upepo mbaya ambaye tulitoa katika ndani ya bunge, ambaye alikuwa analeta ukabila, alikuwa analeta chuki, na alikuwa anasema wengine ni shareholders na wengine sio shareholders, nimeconfirm ya kwamba tulifanya kazi mzuri.
And then he crossed an even more dangerous line, the media. Junet threatened to shut down media houses like The Standard, The Bold, and People's Daily, simply for doing their job. Let's listen in.
Kuna watu wengine hapa Kenya ambaye ni media owners. Wako na gazeti yao, wako na TV yao. Gazeti moja inaitwa Standard, mwenyewe ni Gideon Moi. Gazeti ingine inaitwa Daily People, ni ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Kazi yao imekuwa kutusi rais kila siku. We must defend ourselves from this biasness that is being perpetuated by the media that is owned by tycoons in this country.
Let's not sugarcoat things here. This man is leading in the Kenya school of simping. As Thomas Jefferson once warned, if a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and never will be. A free press is not a favor to journalists. It is a safeguard for citizens. You know, Jefferson goes further to say, and I quote, "Were it to let me to decide whether we should have a government without newspapers or newspapers without a government, I should not hesitate a moment to prefer the latter." When we question how public funds are spent in State House, like the billions spent there, Are we doing the wrong thing? Because this is reported by the Auditor General. When we expose the misconduct of police officers who kill people left, right, and center, are we making a mistake? When we interrogate power, like the alleged theft at Harambee House, we are not insulting the presidency. Junet, we are defending the republic and the public as well. To Junet Mohammed, praising the oppressors is patriotism, but saying the truth to power is treason. Junet Mohammed, you are not elected to be a praise singer at the altar of power. You are elected to legislate, to represent, and to deliver. So let's ask some uncomfortable question. Since 2013, what laws bear your name, Junet? What transformation have you delivered to the people of Suna East? As other members of parliament are struggling and working left, right, and center to see kids in school and reduce the burden of parents on school fees, Junet, you're moving left, right, and center in this country, praising and worshipping. I don't know what you praise and worship. You know better. Kenyans, if you are asking whether Junet has presented any bill in parliament that was successful, then your guess is just as good as mine. You know, I remember when I was in school, we were told a certain proverb or a saying, empty debes. That flipped my mind. You can complete that. If threats, insults, and political acrobatics are all you bring to the table, Junet, then the people must ask themselves if this representation is really true. But let's say this, in that class of insults, Junet Mohammed, you performed with flying colors, or maybe flying wind, carrying something not sense of leadership. That is first the facts. Greetings to the great people of Vulgar and Wasimbete in Suna East, Migori County. My name is Haman Kamariki.